I'm Brooks Snow, CTO at Lume.
I'm Eric McVeigh, CIO of Tier4 Advisors. What we've seen over the years is documentation is extremely important in the environment. A lot of people don't take the time to write down everything in their environment, not just from an infrastructure perspective, but from an application perspective. And once they have that data, then they can know where some of their weak spots may potentially be.
In addition to the documentation, the scanning, right? There's some very inexpensive scanning applications you can do externally and internally to find out what you don't know and start that documentation process.
And audits a lot of times is the last time you want to find out how vulnerable you actually are. So proactive scanning, pen testing is extremely important.
It actually gives you an advantage when you go into an audit because you've already seen and know what they're going to see, right?
Right.
Some of the first things a law firm needs to do is increase redundancies. If that's get a secondary ISP, if that's create high availability firewalls, network switches, eliminate the downtime so you don't have to rely on your disaster recovery plan, right? So beef up the production by adding redundancies.
What I would add to what Brooks said is that user identity management is critical. Having users only access systems that they really need to access. A lot of people are giving away user logins that are carte blanche and go across the board, and that's introduces risk in the environment.
Yeah, so it's actually getting into the simple things too, like antivirus, the stuff that's overlooked. You're too busy, you know. IT admins are too busy to deal with, and those little things that you kind of overlook are really a lot of times the things that get you in the end.
Right. Two schools of thought in DRBC planning. I'm of the old school that they're two separate functions. DR for me, or disaster recovery, is if my main production system goes down, how quickly can I get that back up? All right. Business continuity planning to me is if my primary data center goes down, where am I coming back up? How does my business going to keep running? One of Brooks's team members uses the terminology smoking hole. If my production center becomes a smoking hole, how am I going to keep running? Yeah. And so there's a whole industry around business continuity planning. And it's just not just from an IT perspective, but you know, how am I going to take phone calls? You know, how am I going to have people coming in the office?
How am I going to communicate that there's an issue or problem, right?
Right, exactly. So I look at it as two different things.
And we stated this before, but beefing up the production environment is a big part of that, DR and business continuity planning, right? Downtime is a big issue for everybody, but in particular for law firms, it's a time and billing industry. So downtime, Eric mentioned the smoke and hole in the ground is one type of downtime. In a law firm, Word, the application not opening up could be a major outage for an attorney, right? Say they're litigating or they have a commercial real estate deal going down at the next day, and Word is not functioning properly. That's considered downtime. And so they have complexities they have to deal with because of the nature of their industry and what they're producing and what they're doing. So they face some unique challenges that other organizations of their same size don't.
Yeah, and I would add the most important tool besides their Word or their laptop is their phone.
Yeah.
And their phone systems are extremely critical to be able to take calls, to be able to take depositions, to be able to interact with clients back and forth. We don't think of phones being, it's a simple thing, but it's one of their primary tools.
Data. They have so much data.
Yeah, the data that law firms have in this day and age of everybody wants to keep everything, be able to access everything, anywhere, anytime, any place, on any device. There's risk fraught there, and what a lot of, not only law firms, but businesses in general, they struggle with that whole data retention policy. What do I get rid of? What do I keep? Where do I keep it? And is it okay to let it go?
And unique to law firms is they have regulation and requirements, they have to keep some of that data, right?
That's correct.
So in other industries, you're trying to get rid of it or shred it, and the legal industry, they have to, you know?
Yeah.
So they have a challenge of keeping the data because they have to by law, but then also securing that data because they have to by law. So it's a tricky challenge. So, you know, having an expertise or a vendor or partner who understands those challenges for a law firm is important.
And it varies. Those retention policies vary by country. Europe has got data retention laws that are just
shaking up the world, right?
Huge, right? And then, you know, Asia, Russia, the data retention for HR records is 75 years. Can you imagine keeping storage around for 75 years?
Huge benefits. I mean, from a CapEx play, you've got all the capital outlay one.
Big check.
Big check.
Big check.
Maintaining the hardware, refreshes, or if you're doing a lease, you have to do lease backs or the complexities of buyouts, sending hardware back. Hopefully you don't have to do that. And really, and I think we've talked a lot about this, Eric, is that the hardware or software that you're purchasing is only really probably less than half of what you're buying, right? It's maintaining, it's patching, it's management of those devices and that software, and that's really the big advantage for an OpEx model, right?
Yeah, the folks that I'm talking with on a daily basis is, you know, they want to get out of the data center business. They want to find partners like Lume that will run everything for them, and so their folks can focus on driving revenue generating applications and driving them out the door and satisfying their customers and clients. So they don't want to watch the blinky lights. They don't want to deal with the patch match. So they want partners such as Lume to do all that for them, and all they're looking for is 4 nines, 5 nines uptime, and I want it to be up and running, and I want to be able to sleep at night and let somebody else worry about it.
Yeah, they want to focus on the applications, right? So OpEx model allows them to focus on that. Firm administrators can now focus on the applications and what the attorneys actually need, right? Which is affecting the bottom line, time and billing, that whole
time and billing. Yeah. Our law firms that Tier 4 has been dealing with for the last 5 years are varying sizes, right? So small to large. So some of the small to mids have 2 or 3 really kind of help desk people. They're kind of running around working on desktops or working on phones.
Putting out fires.
Putting out fires in the offices, be it, you know, home office or remote offices. And so a provider for a law firm is really kind of an extension of their team. Then they're taking over really anything from the solutioning of the production systems, for monitoring the backups. They're looking at patch management, doing the security scans, helping them answer audits, and really kind of sitting at the table with them in that solutioning discussion, being that partner with them that says, hey, we're looking at this kind of application. The lawyers are screaming for better widgets, and we're thinking about going down this path. And a good partner or provider sits there at the table with them, says, okay, what we're seeing, the way you're set up today, we think these 1, 2, 3, 4 products would work. And we've had history with other clients, you know, in that space. So that provider is more of it's not necessarily a provider, it's a partner. Is really the way it works.
And Tier 4 Advisors does a phenomenal job of lining up law firms with the right provider, with the right partner, right? Because of the complexities, I mean, you've got to look at the data center footprint. Does the vendor have to, you know, do they have expertise in disaster recovery design, compliance, and dealing with the complexities there, and then also, you know, making sure that they understand the applications, right? And that they have legal experience. And Tier 4 has done a great job lining us up with the right fit, right partner.
One of the CIOs I think a lot of, he said, I really don't want to be a small fish in a big pond. I want to be a medium-sized fish in a medium-sized pond.
I want to be regular.
Yeah. So at Tier 4 we take that into account, and we're matching up partners such as Lume with the right client.
Yeah.
And it's a win-win situation when you do that. The partner's getting a good client and the client's getting a good partner. So typical law firms don't have somebody watching all the messages that come out, system messages that come out, application messages that come out. The purpose of a NOC is not only looking at network throughput and hopefully no outages, right? But also compiling all those system messages and being able to bubble up those that are high priority and ignoring those that really are just noise. From a security standpoint, same things going on. There, you can put off antivirus tools that are scanning. You can put off SIMlog tools that are gathering all the system and event messages. But if nobody's looking at them, if nobody's acting on them, it's just data, right?
It's like having a front door open that people come and go, and there's no one checking to see
exactly
who it was that came and left.
Exactly. Yeah. So if nobody's doing that inside of the law firm or any business for that matter, a managed partner that is doing that 24/7, 365 it provides great value and can call the client with issues before the client really knows that there's an issue.
Yeah, and
that's
really,
the benefit.
The other thing too is not only just having the systems in place, but having a partner or vendor who's an expert in log analysis, right? I mean, because when you're dealing with validating every piece of data that's come in and out of the digital door, it can become overwhelming. When we were talking about, terabytes of data a day, and so having the expertise to know what you're looking at from an organization that knows what you're looking at is as critical as looking at it, right?
One of my former life jobs, we had put in a new management system, and we didn't really think about what we just wanted to see everything. Well, we didn't have a clue. We filled up a whole server full of disk overnight because we were collecting everything. So there's tweaks you can do to only see what you really need to see, and alert only really when it's really an emergency. So.